1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it's like just a little short delay here, but and sometimes it starts early. Hey guys, how y'all doing out there? I'm Doug Best on the Doug Best Show, and we got the great Dr. Daren Miller. And we're going to talk about today a whole bunch of stuff. Mostly we're going to talk about education, and he's running for, actually, Dr. Miller, talk to the people. You can tell them exactly what you're doing and how you want their vote.
First of all, thank you for having me on there.
Oh, my God.
I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. I know you and I have been talking about doing this, not necessarily around my campaign, but a couple of different messages I've gotten from you. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you accommodating me tonight. But I'm Dr. Daren Miller. I am a candidate for Fresno Unified School Board Trustee Area 1, which is referred to as the Edison region. I will be on the ballot in November, so don't look for me in June. The school board races are all in November, so I'll be on the ballot in November. I'm a lifelong Fresnan. Grew up, raised and grew up here in Fresno, educated here in Fresno. Was blessed to go on to colleges, earn 5 college degrees. Was blessed to work for 34 years in local school districts around the Fresno, Madera metropolitan area. And now in my retirement, which I retired in June of 24, I want to go back and give this knowledge and expertise that I've developed over that 3 decades of working in school systems around here. I want to bring that to the board here at Fresno Unified for the benefit of the kids in Area 1, but also for all the kids across the school district.
Yeah, what I did, I changed the camera so you talking directly to the people. And, me and the doctor was just talking just a few minutes ago. And I guess my friend Marvin Anderson sent me a pie chart. Mm-hmm. And what's the young lady name that was surveying and was sending it around?
It's one of my opponents. It's Dr. Deshauna Ricks, who is also running for the school board race. She's one of my former students, actually. She's one of my students when I was the vice principal over at Edison. She sent out this pie graph that you're going to be showing. And what it is a representation of schools. Each one of those colors on there represents a school and their level of reading comprehension. And I know it's kind of small, so I'm not sure if everybody can see this.
No, it's going to be big on that. So however you're looking up there, just and you see it in your lower right-hand corner.
So each one of those colors represents an individual school. And I believe it's all elementary schools on there. I don't believe there's any middle school or high schools on there.
No.
And so what this tells you is that there are no schools in this graph that more than looks like about 25%, maybe 30% of their kids are actually reading on grade level.
Right.
If this was a better representation, say the green chunk of the pie, it would be 50% of the graph.
Should we show it to him right now?
You can't. I thought that was up there.
No, it's not up there.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So what we're looking at right now, looks like those are all schools, elementary schools that are in Area 1. And so there you go. Thank you. Yeah, those are all elementary schools that make up Area 1, which I'm going to get into in just a second because a lot of people don't realize this. But what this is showing is the I forget exactly how the measurements are calculated with this, but none of these schools have more than about 30% of their kids that are reading on grade level. And that's from grades, they're tested from grade 2nd grade to 6th grade.
Right.
So TK, kindergarten, and 1st grade, they take an assessment, but it's not part of their it's not part of the data that's sent out publicly. So this is a representation of grades 2 through 6. As you can see, King in this particular on this particular assessment, it says it's negative 82. That
King
means
is the red. Okay.
Yeah, King is the red. So that I wish I knew exactly what the comparison was to be able to come with that calculation, but I don't. I don't understand that. I don't want to speculate because I might be incorrect. Here is some other information that I think people need to be aware of on here. There was a reading assessment that was given out district-wide last year. It's a reading assessment that's given to all students. The highest performing school in Fresno Unified was Kirk Elementary.
Yeah, I seen when you was on Dr. Floyd Harris and Eileen Reed. I seen you talking about that. Yeah, I didn't see that on there though.
That's not on the. It's not represented in this. This is from this.
Why wouldn't they show the ones that's doing good and the ones that's doing only the ones doing bad?
But I believe this is a representation for this school year. So for the 25-26 school year. That data that I was talking about with Kirk is from the 24-25 school year. So it was last year's information. And so the part about this is that we have lots of our students are struggling. They're not reading on grade level. One of the things that I would like to do as a trustee is to take a look at the system that our kids are being educated in. People don't realize it, but an elementary principal is responsible for 8 grade levels.
Yeah, just 1 second, guys. You see, it actually says from 24 to 25.
So this is last year's data. So I need to find out. I need to find out more information because I did see this on Facebook, but I haven't really gotten in, dove into it to be able to analyze. But because I've never seen a scoring where it's minus 80.
Yeah, so,
and something else is plus, and where they're at the bottom, and that's plus a plus figure. So I got to go back in there and take a look at and do some research on exactly how this particular assessment is being scored.
Yeah, Doc. So it says just for me. So we got a doctor, a PhD.
No, EDD. I have an EDD, educational doctor.
Well, get me right then.
PhDs are people who it's the same type of doctoral degree.
You corrected me in there, man. Get my title right, babe. Okay, I got you. Okay.
But it's 2 different emphasis, and mine is solely in education.
Okay, so a doctor of education, principal,
former principal, yes.
Principal, a teacher.
I was never a teacher. I was a counselor.
Yeah,
I started out. I never finished my teaching credential. I went right into counseling.
Oh, you went straight. You went straight for the money.
Not necessarily for the money. I didn't like being in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
My background is out of athletics, and so in athletics, you deal with all kids. Whereas when you were in the classroom, you had the same kids, and I was working on getting a multiple subject credential, which is for the elementary.
Right.
I never worked at the elementary school. All of my 34 years are all at the middle school and at the high school. And so I liked being a counselor because it equated more to being like a coach, because you work with all kids, all genders, kids in special education, your kids who are doing honors work. You work with the whole gamut. And so that was a lot more to my liking. So I wound up getting a credential in counseling. It was called a PPS credential. Went to work, and then the 3rd year that I got that, after I got that credential, is when I went into administration as a vice principal.
Yeah, Doc. So the people out there, I was telling some people, man, they said, Doug, man, you starting to be too political, man. You ain't having all them politicians on there, man. What they gonna do for us?
Everything we do is political, though. I just had a conversation. I spoke to a class today over at Fresno City College, and a young man said, I don't get involved in politics. I'm like, okay. I don't agree with you. It's like, are you a father? Nope. Do you still live at home?
Not yet.
Yeah. Do you still live at home? Yeah, I live at home. So you have some political decisions about what you was doing this morning with whoever you living with. What time you leaving? What time you getting up? Here's a political decision. If you got $40 in your pocket, now times, are you going, and your gas tank is on E, do you take all $40 and put it in your gas? Or do you take $20, put in your gas tank, and the other $20 so you can eat on stuff? Those are all political decisions. We don't recognize it that way.
Right.
But those are all political decisions. So when people say they're not involved in politics, I always push back on them. You've made a ton of political decisions this morning. You just don't identify the way. What people don't like are the people that's involved in politics. They don't like the president, whoever that is. They don't like the governor.
Trump is the president, whoever that is. Donald Trump is the president.
Whether it's Donald Trump or whether it was Joe Biden, whether it was Barack Obama, they always had their detractors and their haters.
Right.
So people don't like the people, the men or the women who are politicians who are elected because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But a political process, the other example I gave them today is the reason why we have Donald Trump in this past election is not because he got the most votes. It's because of the number of people who didn't participate. Right. So if there's 150,000 people who could vote, 51,000 of them voted for him, 49,000 of them voted for Kamala Harris, and there's 50,000 people out there who didn't even vote.
Right.
So if we could just manifest that 50,000 people to participate in the process and the outcome of the process would be totally different.
Yeah, but the only difference is, in the presidential election, it's the electoral college. It's so outdated and so antiquated. Yeah. It's almost like, I don't care how many, you can win the popular vote. But the people behind the scenes with the money that really make the decision, That's
That
the
is
electoral
true.
college.
That is true. The
Yeah, but
electoral
I
college.
know the point that you're making. It's
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, but I mean, and I hadn't even thought about that part, but you're absolutely correct, because the way that the electoral college plays out, because it's not even the same rules universally. There are states that it's all for one, so whoever wins gets all their votes. In other states, they can split them. So it's even different rules. Is that part? People don't realize that the electoral college is founded in not wanting to have black folks be counted as a full vote. You remember they had us as 1/5 and
No,
all those-
3/5.
3/5. I'm sorry, 3/5,
okay.
and all those type of things. Well, when emancipation happened in 1860, whatever it was, 1864, I believe, when emancipation happened, there were more people of African descent in Mississippi and in Alabama, Tennessee, and some of those southern states, because they had brought in all those slaves. If you give them one person, one vote, then the black people who were there, these recently freed people, would have more voting power than the white people who owned them. And so
Right.
that's where that whole electoral college and all that kind of stuff came into play, is making sure that they can control the power that goes along with those elected officials.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then now, with along the same vein, we're not going to go too far in the grass with the gerrymandering. Yeah, with the gerrymandering, with California deciding they're going to have a new ballot to try to make sure that the Democrats win, and Texas going to have something where they're going to be gerrymandering to make sure the Republicans win. But here we are, we in Fresno, California. Yeah, so Doc, so right now, Keisha Thomas is the person, and I'm gonna see if you can articulate it so I can get a clear understanding. So I know somebody else out there. You guys on the Doug Best Show, we're gonna do it all. In a few minutes, we're gonna put this up where you can call. And you guys are gonna be able to call, and hopefully we can get some bunch of people calling in and ask the doc some good questions. Ask the doc some good questions about whatever you want to ask me about education. And we're gonna talk about, well, what's the difference between being a trustee, somebody on the Area 1 school board and educational board and all those other different things, and how much money do they make? I think somebody said they had a budget of $2 billion.
Yeah.
That's a little money right there. I might run for election for that.
$2 billion.
$2 billion. Yeah, guys, and Doc, before we go right here, I just want to just ask you this. I guess about 2-3 weeks ago, they had a billionaire came here, Tom Steyer, and then you got up and you asked that question. I said, man, where you at? And you left, and I had an opportunity to go up there and just interview him for just a brief second or two, and I said, I asked him before I interviewed him, I said, man, with all that money, why would you want to get in a position like this when you're going to be up under all this stress and all this strain? I'm going to ask you the same question. And he says that at this stage in my life, I want to do something. When I leave this earth, I felt like I did something, made a contribution, as opposed to just making a bunch of money. He says, I don't want to die a billionaire. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'll take some of that money.
Well, he and I, the only thing with us that's different than that is I'm not a billionaire, and I never will be a billionaire. But I do.
You can't say that now.
Yeah, I can. I'm not.
You're not an entrepreneur?
I'm not an entrepreneur. I've worked in the educational system more than half my life, and so. But with what he did say is that I've made a lot of impact on students over these 34 years. I had a tremendous amount of impact, but it's always been to the benefit of the kids who have been at my particular school site. And if we were doing great things at school A, it didn't necessarily permeate to school B because that wasn't what I was responsible for.
Right.
As a trustee, I would be responsible for those 12 elementary schools that you just showed on that pie chart. I would be responsible for Tehipity Middle School, for Gaston Middle School, for Computech Middle School, and Edison High School.
Okay.
And so what I want to be able to do is have some of those great things that I've did in the past in combination with some of the great things. Because everything in Fresno Unified is not bad. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
There's a lot of issues there. There's some things. Edison, I know I'm all over the place, but Edison High School was just recognized because they have the highest number of students, graduating seniors that are going to UC Berkeley. It was also, in some publication, it was also rated as the second highest performing high school in the state of California. And so yeah, we talk about the bad all the time, but there are some very, 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 very good things that are happening in Fresno Unified also. But unfortunately, it's happened in isolation.
Yeah, Doc, but just stay with me. When I was in that first group, and I graduated in 1976. I'm in that first group when they bust all the white kids over there. I'm not against integration. I'm also in that first group of people when Brown versus the Board of Education. They go way back. I grew up in the South. I'm not against integration where they got the white kids and the black kids together, because I really feel like when they got the white kids in the school, they're gonna bring more money over there, and everybody's gonna learn more. So is Edison doing great or better because they have a diversity of population? I'm trying to say it correctly. Right. Where I don't want them to think, oh, they just on there just talking about black stuff.
Right. I'm sure that the integration that's happened, the busing that's happening through Computech Middle School, that then permeates itself.
I went to Irwin there too, though. Right.
But I'm saying the way that the structure is now, I am sure that there is a lot of influence into the successes that goes along with Edison High School. But however, there's also been now a decade of kids at Gaston who are the community kids who have been graduating out of there after 7th and 8th grade who are also going to Edison. So I haven't been intimately involved in seeing how all that breakout comes. When I was a vice principal over there, I could tell you that it was 70% of the kids, and this was in 98, 99, and then I left in June of 2000. When I was a vice principal over there, around 70%, 65-70% of our kids at Edison High School were bussed in.
Right. And so I'm with you.
Hey, I don't know what that figure is now, and I would want to do the research to find that out. But yeah, Edison High School is doing great things, but it's not doing great things only because it's got Computech kids and kids being bussed in there. There is a large number of community kids out of Gaston that are going over there that's doing very, very well as well.
So in your mind, do you just got a general ballpark figure of how many white kids are over there and how many black and Hispanic and Asian kids from West Fresno is actually going to Edison?
I don't know. I'd have to go back. That data is readily available on the state website. I haven't looked at that specifically. And there's also this misnomer that all the white kids that are over there are being bussed in. But there's a number of Hispanic, a number of black kids from throughout the school district as well, and other places, other areas that are also being bussed in. It's not all white kids. And so I hesitate.
And that's not a negative, though, because with the white kids being over there, that's a positive.
I think it's a positive also because you have a blending of cultures, a blending of differences. You have Edison High School is a true representation of the city of Fresno. Whereas in our other high schools,
I can't tell when they put that Cesar Chavez thing up there and then no. Okay, go ahead.
I got you. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things that need to be done differently, but also there's a lot of good things that need to be replicated and needs to be expanded upon. We're very, very, very quick to talk about the negative side of it, but we're not as quick to highlight the successes.
I agree with that.
And I think that's one of the roles that a trustee has, is being the number one champion for their schools they're responsible for. Here's another misnomer that's out there. Area 1 is all of Edison's region. So Edison High School and all of its feeder systems. But there's also 6 elementary schools and 1 middle school that feeds into Roosevelt that's also in Area 1. There's 2 elementary schools that's in the Fresno High region that's also part of Area 1. And so when we talk about a true representation of Area 1, there are lots of different factors that we as the public are not aware of. And I want to make sure that is part of this process as well. Because all of the school districts, all the elementary schools that are in Area 1 have always been, they've not always been placed at the top of the list when it comes to resources and people and those types of things.
Yeah, Doc, and Maurice, man, I apologize to you guys out there. We put the sign up and a few people is chiming in. And Maurice Simpson, what you want to ask the Doc? I see you got a couple of questions, but I wasn't looking over on this thing right here because you know I'm old, man. I got to be able to multitask.
Is he on the phone or is he going?
No, he's not on the phone. He says, well, how do you deal with the racism at Edison between the students? I don't know if he'll be in the capacity to deal with that. This is Maurice Simpson, and he got 2 questions. I'm going to keep going down.
Okay, so the first question with racism is you confront racism head on. And I don't know of any
Maurice Simpson, he talking directly to you.
I don't know about any of the specific circumstances that's happening over there at Edison. But when I was a site principal, you don't sugarcoat that. You find out what the information is. And then also part of that is, as an educator, it's my job to make sure that I am protecting those who are victimized by racism.
Right.
But it's also my job to make sure that those who have victimized others understand where they are also. And
Consequences, accountability.
Well, the consequences, and not just the consequences, but also you want to have a teachable moment. Because if you've got a kid who's doing something racist or sexist or, not appropriately socially, that's doing things, if you're just hammering and giving them consequences, they don't learn from it.
Right.
And so, yeah, you got to have consequences with it, but the consequences, I believe, needs to actually provide some type of learning in there, whether it be having a conversation with the person who's the victim and the person who has victimized them, talking to the families.
Right.
If it's a group type of deal, like what happened down in Visalia, where there was multiple kids involved in that wasn't racist. That had to do with making inappropriate comments about the LGBT community.
Right.
If it's a group like that, making sure that you go back and in this case, it was a student leadership group. You don't just talk to the 5 or 6 kids involved with it. You got to go back and talk to your whole leadership group, because if they're comfortable enough to do that, there's got to be others in there who may be offended by it, but there's also others in there that may be supporting it. So that's how you address racism.
Right.
And that's the practice that I've always done. That's the expectation I would have for any of my site leaders that are in my area as we would move forward.
And Maurice got another second part. Anybody out there that's got a question, you can always call in at 559-704-3785. Yeah, guys, let's put this thing up here. I done spent the money to get this thing ready for y'all to call in, and ain't nobody calling in. Is anybody out there listening? Y'all on the Doug Best Show with Dr. Daren Miller. He made sure to not say it's an EDD, not a PhD.
Yeah, EDD.
He's a doctor of education. He know everything about education, or mostly everything. Hey, guys, so Maurice, we're going to go back to you. Maurice Simpson. He says, I was at church recently, and a student at Edison voiced her concern during testimony, and I was really heartbreaking to hear. I mean, it's a big question there. Let me make it bigger. That is hindering a positive learning environment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Maurice, you said some young lady while you was at church. I'm making sure that I'm getting it right. And it was a heartfelt experience. The way she expressed it, she felt like her learning experience was being hindered at Edison. That's your question? And then, Doc, could you answer that one?
Yeah,
what
it goes back to what I talked about earlier. I mean, it's unfortunate that young lady, whoever that student is, did not. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know, but it sounds like the student did not have an advocate or wasn't comfortable with a teacher or some other professional on campus to be able to share that information with, to be able to go forward. Every campus is going to be successful has got to have those outlets for those students to be able to deal with things right then and there on campus. Sometimes if you go home and the parents get involved in it, the community gets involved in it, it takes on a life of its own. Mm-hmm. And so as a practicing principal, I always wanted to make sure that I had outlets where kids were comfortable coming and sharing information. It would be great if it was me all the time, but sometimes kids would be intimidated by me because of my size and I'm a pretty vocal person, that type of stuff. I told them, if you don't feel comfortable talking to me, write me a note. Scribble a note. Now that we got commuters, send me an email. You don't always have to have a conversation with me, but I want to know that information. If you have a favorite teacher you feel comfortable with, you should share those type of information with them, because kids, if they're not comfortable at school, they're not going to learn.
Right.
They're not going to come, first of all. And then when they're there, if their head is always on a swivel and they're worried about what's going on around them and who's going to do this one, they can't focus on whatever the lesson is in class. And that goes back to one of the other things I want to talk about. One of my platforms also is making sure that we have safe learning environments for our kids.
Right.
And I don't mean more sheriff's officers, more police officers, more boots.
That's a positive, though.
I'm talking about, it depends. Edison, I just found out, is getting ready to have Tyler Horton, who was a former football player there. I don't remember what year Tyler graduated, but he was an excellent athlete out of there. Wound up going to Boise State, played red football at Boise State, and he's on the police department. I understand he's been hired now as the community resource officer. I think that's great.
Right.
Because he's from the community. He's a third generation person out of that West Fresno community. He's a grandson of the Searses. His mom was one of the twins. Mm-hmm. So he's not only going to have...
I know them.
Yeah, so he's not only going to have a perspective of Edison High School as a student, he knows it as the community. And now as a law enforcement agent, he's going to be able to be there. And everything that's going to happen on campus doesn't need, because a kid gets upset or gets into a fight or gets loud, that doesn't mean they got to wind up in handcuffs. And a lot of times when you have more boots on the ground on campus, that's how they see things. Police officers see things as you detain them, separate them, and then you go figure things out. Mm-hmm. So that means maybe you put them in handcuffs, maybe you put them in your car, and then you go and sort things out. We as school officials, we don't have the ability to do that.
Right.
So when I get an issue coming through my door, I can't separate them. I got to deal with what's right in front of me. And I believe that having Tyler over there is going to help that campus deal with some of the issues, the internal issues that they have on campus, not only because he was a great student there and did very well, knows the community, but also because he understands the law and how that works out. And so I think that's going to be a great situation over there to help with that.
Right. And I just see my brother-in-law, Hector Tito Mendoza in Guadalajara, Mexico. He got a big thumbs up.
Okay.
So just yeah, guys, if anybody out there, if you guys want to call 559-704-3785, or you could just chime in here on Facebook and just ask the doctor questions. Okay.
So before you go, one of the other things we talked about off camera that I want to make sure that I talk about is, what is the role of a trustee? The role of a trustee for any of the school districts, there's an odd number. Most of the school districts around here have 7 people that are elected in those offices. They have one employee in a school district, and that's the superintendent. Mm-hmm. The principal doesn't work for the board. The person who's over finance, the person who's over human resources, they work for the superintendent. The superintendent works for the board. And so sometimes there's this misnomer about the role of a trustee.
Right.
So when you ask me about problems and issues and those type of things that are there at Edison High School, it would be inappropriate if, my man just shared this information with me. It would be
Maurice Simpson.
Maurice Simpson. Thank you, Mr. Simpson. It would be inappropriate for me as a superintendent to take that information directly from Maurice and then go to Edison High School and try to put that fire out. That's not my job.
Right.
I should work through the superintendent to the principals of those sites to be a supportive entity in that. Because of my expertise as a site administrator, working with kids for these 35 years, I can offer certain things that I've done in the past, or maybe help make some connections because of everybody I know in the community. Right. Be able to make those connections to be able to help resolve some of those issues. But it's inappropriate for me as a trustee to go over there with the mindset that I'm going to solve it. That's not my job.
Yeah. So, Dr. Miller, let me just see if I can just see if I can clear it up from my mind. And maybe somebody else is out there. So the superintendent of school, is he your boss?
No, I'm that person. The trustees are that person.
Wait. So we talking to the boss. Okay, okay, we got this right. Okay, so it's how many trustees is it?
7.
7 trustees. So if 4 of you guys got together and you say, man, I don't like the way this guy is conducted, he could be out of there.
Yep. So we can go into a meeting on Wednesday at 5:00. And by Wednesday at 6:00, that superintendent could be fired if 4 trustees.
So Keisha Thomas got that? Keisha, where you been? You ain't told nobody. Okay. And then, okay, so Dr. Miller, so the principals, who do the principals work for?
The principals work for the everybody else in Fresno Unified works for the superintendent.
Okay, so if you guys seen something that wasn't correct and you could go to the superintendent of schools and said, from what we are hearing, and from our due diligence, something's going on at Roosevelt. I know you went to Roosevelt, so just in case you don't think I know, I went to Edison. But both of us went to Lincoln.
Right, we did.
Yeah, both of us went to Lincoln. Yes. So, okay. So the average person out there, people don't really think about the educational trustee or nothing like that. And then, with Keisha, she kind of brought it to the forefront with the people in West Fresno. So when you're running for election right now, who all can vote for you?
Only people who live in Area 1.
And only the people in the Edison area. So how
not
far?
Remember, it's not just the Edison area. So if they are in West Fresno, all of West Fresno, all of downtown, the Tower District, it goes up 41 to Olive, it goes across Olive.
Is it the same thing like City Council District 3? Similar.
No, it's similar.
Less or more.
It's about 80% of District 3.
So 80, I'm saying District 3 got about 78,000 people.
Yeah, the school district is smaller than that. The school district, I believe, is like around 30. Just under 30. 26, 27, 28,000 people that makes up that area. Because remember, if they live in a county island with the city council, they can't vote for them.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if they're in a county island with the school district. It's the school district's border and everybody who's in that area. So there's some differences that goes along in there.
Yeah. So Dr. Miller, so let me just ask you this. How many people's running?
Right now, there's 3 of us.
3. Okay, so you got Miss Ricks. Is she a doctor?
She is a doctor also. She has an EDD.
Okay, so you got Dr. Ricks. She's a black lady. And then I'm saying that because I don't want nobody to be feeling offended.
Yeah,
about
all of us that are running right now, as of right now, are all black.
Who is the other person?
The other person is a young lady by the name of Rispa Ballard.
Okay, so, and you know, everybody that I asked the other day, I went over there for City Council District 7. That's my area over there by Fashion Fair area.
Right.
And the lady name was Esmeralda Soria.
Esmeralda Soria, yeah.
I couldn't say her name, man. I didn't even know who she was. Then I went and Googled her.
Senate.
And I said, who's confident? And she says, we're all confident. And then the guy named Nab Graham, he says, she's doing the me. So right now, man, what make you any different from all the rest of the people right there? I know you in it to win it now.
And my other 2 opponents?
You might have to talk. Man, I'm telling you, if I was in the fight, I'm going to be in the fight to be stomping some heads, smashing some feet. I'm trying to win. Are you going to be just a nice guy and say the chips fall where they lay?
No, I'm not a nice guy to let the chips fall where they lay.
Well, let me know what's going on. I'm going to see the champ, man.
But I'm also not a man who is going to kick 2 young sisters in the head also. And so when you talk about my differences from them,
the distinctions,
my distinctions
are
vast. I got 34 years as a site manager,
and they don't.
No, neither one of them do.
They got that. They got nothing, no experience.
Neither one of them has run a campus. Neither one of them has run a school.
What they got though? They just got a EDD.
Miss Dr. Ricks has an EDD. She worked.
Call in Dr. Ricks.
She worked at Fresno Unified, but her background is out of counseling. She worked as I forget what the title is, but she worked out of counseling, and she has a very extensive background in dealing with students who have trauma. She has a nonprofit that she.
What do you mean trauma? You some
kids,
some nut cases?
No. Please don't call the kids nuts. That ain't real good. It's kids who have issues. Some kids have cognitive issues.
Okay.
If they could be born with them, it could be from a traumatic head injury, a car accident something along those lines. Could be that they have physical disabilities.
I was thinking you was talking about street kids. Street kids that
when you say, what do you mean by street kids?
Street kids is going in and out of the penitentiary, shooting people, doing all those kind of things.
Okay, so if that kid is on my campus, guess what? Mm-hmm. He's my student. He's my kid. Mm-hmm. And maybe I got to come up with a different. I
was one of them kids, so I ain't talking about nobody.
You had to deal with Verdell Newsom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I got my tutelage from.
Mo Bradley.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can go down the list.
Johnny Miller,
my dad, Harry Miller.
Yeah.
So
especially Harry Miller.
I've been blessed to be around some very, 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 very strong African American males in different capacities. I've also been blessed to be around some strong educational leaders.
Right.
So I want to be able to combine that history, which neither one of my opponents have, and God bless them. Both of them are very highly educated, beautiful young ladies who are going to be successful in whatever it is they want to do.
But they're not going to win this election.
Well, that's up to the people.
You got, man. I'm trying to see if you're going to project some confidence.
I got you. My confidence is in what I've done. My confidence is in my, as they say, show your report card. I'm confident in my report card.
You got the receipts, okay?
But in order, so you know who my boss is, right?
Who's your boss?
If I was to be elected, my boss is the people. Mm-hmm. The people are the ones who elect and put the trustees in there, and the people are the ones who we, as trustees, should be responding back to. And it hasn't always happened that way, and I understand that. The one thing that concerns me with the race is that now politics is about likes. It's like the internet. It's about likes. How many likes you got, and who's doing this, and hopefully we've learned our lessons by the executive in chief that we got in the office of the White House right now, that the person with the most likes may not be the best person for that position. They may be good at something else, great at something else, but they may not be the best person to be in that elected role because they don't understand everything, the nuances that goes along with being a public servant. I do.
Maurice got another question for you. He says, yes, Floyd Harris is intended to address it, and hopefully we can collaborate with Dr. Miller on this matter. I'm just telling you what he's saying.
Yeah, Floyd knows how to get in contact with me. Like you said, I was on his show last week or the week before last, and so...
And then she says, she spoke out at Reverend Floyd Harris Church with her concerns and pain, and I appreciate the protocol and being pointed in the right direction. This is Maurice Simpson talking to you. And right here. So
let me put this out there also. Mr. Simpson and anybody else who's paying attention, if you want to get in contact with me directly.
I'm finna put you right there when you talking directly to them.
Okay. So if you want to get in contact with me directly, please send me an email at elect, ELECT, Daren, 1 R, DARREN. I just spelled it wrong. DAREN, Miller, MILLER, at gmail.com. Or you can call me, 559-202-3969. Again, that's 559-202-3969.
Say it again, no document, I'm going to write that.
559-202-3969. The email address is electdarenmiller@gmail.com. Daren is spelled with 1 R. So please reach out to me. I will get back to you. Like I said, I have a lot of knowledge and experience in doing different things, but I'm also very cautious about interfering. Because just because it's my intentions to do what's right, sometimes you get in there too fast, or you get into the situation, and it winds up muddy in the water, and that would add more confusion into it, and so I don't want to do that. But I'm open to respond to any kind of questions you may have through email or through phone.
Yeah, guys, and I could just tell you from firsthand experience, I've been corresponding him through email, and he's going to do what he say, man. He a man of his word. And then plus, if somebody come on here, I'm going to put their feet in the fire.
Good.
Yeah, I'm put their feet in the fire, and then I'm listening to him. He's a straight shooter, and what he's saying is if the protocol is that if something's going on over there, and that's more Dr. Floyd Harris, he's more of a community activist than you. You're gonna be in a different kind of position. Yeah, but if he sees something, he said he's gonna take care of it.
But when he says he's gonna take care of it, what he's gonna do is he's gonna ask questions. I know Floyd.
No. I'm saying no. I'm agreeing with you. You and Floyd got some similar approaches. I'm not saying that you're not gonna do it no different than he would do it, but Floyd is more of a community activist, and your position is gonna be where you got like a certain protocol that you got to follow at all times.
Especially as an elected official, there are steps that you have to go through, and I've learned those steps as a site principal. If something was going on my campus, trustees just wouldn't show up. They would tell the superintendent, "Hey, I'm going to talk to Daren. There was an issue. I saw a parent last night at dinner. This is what's going on this campus." They'd let the superintendent know, and then they would reach out to me. And my conversation with the trustee would be, "Okay, does superintendent such and such know we're having this conversation?" Yeah, and then I'm okay with that. But if my boss is not as a site principal, if my boss, the superintendent, was not involved in that conversation, I may be part of a political process that's happening in the back. And I don't want to be. I want to fix problems. I'm not there to serve people's individual interests. I'm there to make sure that my kids are safe. My kids are matriculating through the educational system like they're supposed to, that their parents feel comfortable when something goes on with their children, that the parents feel comfortable enough to come talk to me at the school and not have to go find a trustee at dinner or something like that. If the parents are always going out to share their frustrations, there's something going on with the campus. And I would be working as a trustee to make sure that my parents are comfortable. Yeah, they can talk to me, but I also want them to be able to feel comfortable talking to those site administrators. And if there's issues with that, let me see if I can patch that up. If a principal doesn't think that they need to respond to the public, they're not going to be in my area. They can go to somebody else's area and deal with that. But my site leaders are going to have to be able to be involved and engage with parents.
Right, I got you. It makes sense. Yeah, Doc, I want to ask you this right here. You guys on the Doug Best Show, I'm talking to Dr. Daren Miller, and he running for Fresno Explain it, what it is. Because I'm finna say it. Superintendent, I'm finna screw up all. You're going to punch me in the face. I got it wrote down.
Fresno Unified School Board, Trustee Area 1.
Right, and then you know what's we got Keisha Thomas, KT for D3 right now. She's running for the city council, but that's the spot that he's trying to take over. And I want to ask you this though, KT for D3, but we with Dr. Daren Miller right now. I'm gonna ask you, man, how is it? Is it a difficult walk where, like right now, you can get yourself in a precarious position real easy? Because if it's a black situation, or should I say black African American, and you're African American, and you got to be impartial. You got to go and be a fact finder. You got to do your due diligence. But if you don't do it, sometimes us, me included, we gonna say, I was gonna say that Negro. We gonna say that he is not for us. Right. But then you might not necessarily be against us, but then you know that you got to do it a certain way. How do you balance that thin line? Am I making sense though?
It does. It does make sense, and I've had to adjust that. Some of the most difficult situations I had to deal with as a site principal involved us and how I dealt with certain things. But remember what my philosophy is. My philosophy is I'm not here to kill kids.
Oh no!
I'm here to hold kids accountable. And when I have kids who have brought weapons to school, when I've had kids who have skipped school to go do some type of crime and that type of stuff, and my role is to hold them accountable. So whatever you did violating the ed code, it's my responsibility to make sure I hold you accountable to that.
Right.
How I do that, I believe, is a teachable moment. Yeah, I got to suspend you for 3 days from school, but it doesn't mean that I got to send you home. I can suspend you from school for 3 days and put you in an on-campus situation where you're there on campus. So then now you're still getting your instruction. You're removed from the kids on campus. You're removed from your class. You're removed from whatever.
That's good. I didn't know you could do that.
But you're isolated in a situation where I'm still controlling your learning. If I send you home, all I'm doing is setting you up to possibly do more bad stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah. So that's what I mean about being creative in the scenarios in which I discipline kids. Every discipline situation is not a nail, and I'm not a hammer.
Right.
I got a big toolbox with a whole bunch of stuff in there. Some of them tools I've never even used. But in those tricky situations, I know where I can go to get things.
Right.
And just suspending a kid is not appropriate. And the state of California even came up with that. So there's what's called a K violation. And it used to be, when I first started, every time you suspended a kid for something, you always wrote in the K. So in the criminal system, there's also those you robbed the bank, and so they put you on there for robbery. You stole somebody, they steal a car, speeding. All that. Them other infractions ain't got nothing to do with you robbing the bank. Education was the same way. They had a K violation. In the state of California, you cannot suspend a kid solely for a K violation anymore. And so the state of California knew that there was an issue with it. I knew that a long time ago. And so I got out of the business of using that K violation quite a while ago. But I'm all about learning and teaching. God blessed me to be able to get in this situation and be able to get from Butler Park, was where I grew up at, and I was able to dodge all the things that were surrounding around me. Was able to.
You went to Roosevelt, stopping, man. You didn't go there.
But you know the cats I grew up with. Yeah. I mean, and not that they're bad dudes, but not all of them have the opportunities to be able to go to college.
But you had Coach Harry, man.
Yeah, my dad too. My dad and my mom both played a big role in that as well. So that's what I mean about being blessed, and not because I know that not a lot of kids had that blessing. I try to provide that to them. I try to be that conduit for them to feel safe, want to do better. When they make a mistake, learn from it. Because I was a teenage dad. My oldest son was born in April 19th. Matter of fact, today is his 42nd birthday.
God, oh my God.
I'm 60 years old. So my son was born April 23rd, 1984. I graduated in June, whatever. So I've made some decisions that was outside of.
No, that ain't no bad one though.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could have been very difficult for me. I was blessed enough not to have to. I was able to go to get a college football scholarship and go to college, earn 5 college degrees, work in education for, single parent. I raised him from 8 years old until he became adulthood. My younger son, I was a single parent with him. So I've been blessed to do lots of different things. And when I am a site administrator, every kid is on campus is mine.
Yeah.
And I used to tell my teachers all the time when they would be in there complaining about the kids and this and that. I said, listen, the parents are sending us the best kids they have. It's not that they sending us the bad ones and they keeping the good ones at home. This is the best they have to send us. So we got to start treating them at the level of being the best. And yeah, they come,
just need some loving. Yeah.
Well, not sometimes, loving is 13D also. Some of them need to get some discipline in them also. But it's a way you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that went over somebody. No, I get that.
But there's a way that you do that. Mm-hmm. You don't punish. I don't believe you punish a kid to kill a kid. Mm-hmm. But there are those in education who don't understand it. They don't bring that philosophy to the table. And those are some of the traits and attributes that I've learned in my 60 years on earth, from my personal life, my professional life, my community life, that I want to bring to this area of trustee for the benefit of the area 1 parents and students, but also for the whole school district across the city who needs help as well.
Right. So, Doc, I was asking you earlier, I didn't know this. I know that Keisha Thomas and Larry Burrows, Jalen Swank, and Randama and Nab Graham, all these different people that's running for city council. And then we're going to close here pretty quick. They going to have a runoff.
Correct.
For June 2nd.
It's not called a runoff. That's called the primary.
Okay, it's called a primary.
Yeah.
Okay. So the primary is saying, okay, so we got 7 people for District 3 running for city council. Now, if one person gets 51%,
if they get 50% of the votes plus 1,
they won.
They won. They win it outright. They don't have to go to November.
Okay.
If they get 49% of the vote and everybody in the race gets 1% and one other person gets 2%, whoever got 49% and the 2% go into a runoff in November.
And then for the education department, for what you going for, trustee area 1, what's the difference? Why you guys don't have a primary?
I don't know why, but that's the way they set it up. What our election is in November, and in that race, how many ever people are in there, whoever gets the most votes wins.
So right now, the three, you and the two young ladies,
right?
That all 3 of you guys guys gonna fight it out. Right. I can't think of a better word.
So our filing date, though, for us to become what's called qualified candidates is not until August, and so we're just the 3 who have been out here early, working with the community.
And the difference is what? What are you gonna have to do in August that you got
to do the formal paperwork with the county office, with the county elections office.
And then you ran before. What did you run for?
I ran for city council 8 years ago when Miguel Arias got elected. I was in that race. And then 4 years ago, I ran for county superintendent, so the superintendent of the whole entire county.
Okay. And then those are teachable moments. And the difference when this one right here, you learned something from those 2 things.
Yes, those both have primaries. And so I didn't, in the city council race in 2018, Miguel Arias got the most votes. This is in June. He got the most votes. Tate Hill got the second most votes. And I was 6 votes behind Tate Hill. So I came in 3rd in that race. And so I wasn't able to go on to the general election in November. And then the county superintendent's race, there was 3 of us in that race. Cantwell Cofer, I don't remember what her percentage was, but she was over 50%. I had 26%. And then the other Latino gentleman, he was like at 19% or something like that. And so because she was over 50%, she won it outright in June. So
yeah. As I was doing my due diligence, it seemed like I can't think of another words, but all the big shots seem like, they speak highly of you.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I've been in the business.
You know that. I've been in the
business a long time, not just the business education, but I'm from Fresno. I've grown up. I've been in Fresno. I turned 60 in February. I've been in Fresno all but 2 of those years. Those 2 years I was gone playing college football.
Right.
Other than that, I've been here.
You feel you confident.
I'm very confident.
Cocky, confident.
Well, one of the other things is in my education. I started at Lincoln, In the 5th grade, my mom, for whatever reason, moved us to Easterby. So I go from an all-black school to an all-white school overnight. Well, it's positive now, but at the time it wasn't positive.
Okay.
But now I look on it, great. So when I get into middle school, instead of me going to my neighborhood middle school, which would have been Kings Canyon, my mom drove us every morning over to Kearney Park. My brother, who's a year behind us, drove us over to Kearney to get on the bus to go to Tenaya. So I was part of the busing.
Not too bad though.
Yeah, but that busing, that busing stuff was for the birds, man. It wasn't until I got into high school and going back home to Roosevelt, which I had to make a deal with my parents to be able to do that. That was the first time I went to school in the neighborhood in which we lived.
From Butler Park, you could walk on.
We did. We walked on the other side of the fairgrounds there. And so, but that was the first time I was able, to go to school with the cats and the people that was in my neighborhood that I grew up with. Now we would get together playing sports and all this kind of stuff, and during the summertime and stuff. But I was always separated from them because I always went to other schools. And that was my mom. She came up with that.
Now that enhanced you though, man.
It did. I agree. But at the time when I was going through it, it was I could not understand the psychological components that was going on. She was at that particular time
building character.
10, 11, 12, 13 years old. She was getting me ready for what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
What I did in education, being able to deal with people who non-athletic, people who have had issues with black folks, who hate black folks. The year I worked out there at Buchanan as a counselor, I had a white dad tell the lady in the office, I don't know, I can't cuss, right?
I mean, you can say what you want to say, but you're a politician. But I can cuss. You ain't gonna sound because they can cut it and this is what he said.
I had suspended his son. He came to the school, ranting and raving, and told the lady that he was here to get a piece of my black A.
Mm-hmm. Until he's seen you.
No. What happened? I had a great principal at the time. My principal found out about it. He ran interference. He dealt with the gentleman. He called me and told me I am not to come to the office. Like, well, I could deal with all this. Nope, you're not. But those types of things have helped me build character. My officiating. One of the things is I've been officiating sports around here for the last 35 years.
Yeah.
Also, not 40, but 35. But that has also given me an opportunity
5 years different.
But I mean, that's also gave me an opportunity to see people in different lights and being able to deal with parents and kids and all kinds of stuff. And so that's what makes this whole question started with what makes me different from my opponents. Those are the differences. I worked in schools. I've been working as officials. I've been working in the community as long as those two young ladies have been alive.
Right. And then Dr. Miller, so I've been an African American, and the demographics, that's the word I was looking for. The demographics for Trustee Area 1, it has to be more than just black people. So you see how this the Doug Best Show is not just a black show, but have you been going to like the Mexican churches, the white churches? That way, when the general election comes in November, you didn't have an opportunity to talk to a diverse group of people.
I have not been to the churches. It's on my.
I just use the church.
It's on my to-do list.
I know you grew up in the church, though. So if you don't want to go out and
that is on my to-do list, and I have a way of doing that. But meeting with organizations, the different groups, meeting with the different schools.
I'm talking about other ethnic groups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the church.
I understand the importance of that.
The reason why I said church, I know you guys don't know his daddy was a preacher. They might know.
Yeah, my daddy was a preacher, not me. I'm the preacher's son. So I'm the PK. And I was adult PK. My dad didn't become a preacher until he was 60.
But he was a preacher all the time. Oh, man. Even when he's a coach. But go ahead, though, man.
Right. So, I mean, I understand the importance of that as an administrator, side administrator. When I got principal in Madera, I had a front office that the complaint was the parents couldn't come in there because nobody spoke Spanish. And so I wound up hiring some people to speak Spanish. I had an office manager, Caucasian white lady office manager, tell two of my support staff in there that they cannot have conversations in Spanish in the office unless they're working with kids. And they came and told me, like, you are never, ever to tell anybody that.
If you fired her on the spot.
Well, I couldn't fire, but I could correct it. So if you want to know what they're saying, I suggest you learn Spanish.
Right.
And it's those types of things. And so I understand the importance of, I had a Sikh community in when I was in Madera. I made sure that when we did our promotion ceremonies, that at least the Sikh students had a Punjabi speaking person.
But they're on Orange and North over there now.
Yeah, but they would for the young ladies. We wouldn't do any instruction thing, but when we read the students' names, they did it in their home language, and so I understood. That was the minimum that I could do in absence of not being able to speak all those the different languages. So I know we over time. I apologize.
Oh no, we ain't over time. 'Cause you know what that mean? That mean that the conversation was enlightening. So as you teaching me, you actually teaching the people out there. And then what we gonna do here though, Dr. Miller? I'm gonna take this, then I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, and then I'm gonna pin it to my Facebook page. And then what you could do
is grab it from there.
You can grab it from there and just have as many people as you can, and anybody out there. Take the information and just share it. He didn't edify and he didn't taught us, and he didn't teach us about a lot of things, especially about the protocol of the education system. I didn't have a clue. I thought if you was the superintendent of schools, I mean, you the boss, can't nobody do nothing to you.
The people. Remember, the people who put me in there, those are my bosses.
Yeah, I got you.
But I don't have the employee side of it. I only have one employee as a trustee. That's the superintendent. Now, I have influence into all those things. I have opinions and influence, and I can help and work with people to do those things. But the superintendent is the only employee that I'm responsible for. So one more time before we get out of here, remember, if you want to get in contact with me, please reach out to me by email, elect Daren with 1 R, Miller, at gmail.com, or call me 559-202-3969.
559-202-3969. Then before you go, Maurice Simpson says, you got my vote and all my friends. And B Star Rowley says, you tell me, cousin.
That's my cousin.
Wait. Let me see right here. Somebody else says, I appreciate the protocol. That was Maurice. I didn't go over and looking because me and you got so
Brenda,
caught
I
up.
love you too. Thank you. You better not vote for me though, because you're in Sacramento. You're going to get me in trouble if you vote for me.
Oh, you got a bunch of friends in there. All you got to do is just...
family members. Yeah, family.
And then, Brenda, what you could do is once I pin it to the Facebook page, just share it. Just share it. And I'm going to leave it up there. And then, that's when it end up happening. This is a sidebar. We're going to close. we had the child... I don't know what the guy was. Anyway, he was running for election, city council. His name was Rene Campos. We did the show, and it wasn't that many people. Then in 2 days, 20,000 people, I pinned it. 20,000 people seen it.
Right.
And for some reason, Facebook just took it off. So what happens, I don't know why they took it off. And so what happens, me and you have a show tonight, a live show. Then I pin it to Facebook. I share it. Then it's like a whole bunch of Facebook groups. And then I send it to 100 Facebook groups. And all the Facebook groups in Fresno, they got a lot of groups. And I send it to them. And everybody just share them. And that's how the word gets out.
Okay.
And that's why you say the people go for all those likes. This is a social media age.
I got you. I got to learn.
No, that's what you got them youngsters for. That 40-year-old and his kids know how this go. And my kids be teaching me. Yeah, but Dr. Miller, man, the pleasure was mine, man.
Pleasure. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Hey, guys, we're here with Dr. Daren Miller, and he done edified us about EDD is a doctor. I'll see you guys soon.
Right.
Everybody share, everybody share it, and then everybody just keep tuning in, and he going to stay on the social media. And then you see you're going to get some signs out soon, huh?
Yeah, not until after the primaries. It'll be probably in June and August when we start getting the signs, those type of things out. Because I don't want to be confused with what's going on with the city council races right now.
Okay, guys, it was a pleasure, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks.